particularly in the face of the economic stresses that all of American higher education has faced, including public education here in Virginia, with a continuing decline in the ability of the state to support the institution. The University of Virginia has wonderful students. It has wonderful faculty. It's been very well managed. It's probably the best opportunity for leadership right now in the United States higher education. So I'm really thrilled to have this opportunity. You may know that our AAA bond rating has just been reaffirmed by the 3 rating agencies in New York City. I had the opportunity to visit with those 3 rating agencies when they interviewed the university. I had a chance to listen to their questions, and more than that, to listen to the answers from the university's representatives. I thought it was very impressive, and I don't think it's surprising that we got the AAA rating. I think it is an affirmation from the outside of what we've told you from the inside, which is the institution's very well managed, and it's in good shape. Having said that, I do have concerns. We have a faculty here that's not received raises for 3 years. And, you know, higher education is an extremely competitive place. If any of you also follow sports, you're aware of the effects of free agency. Well, your best faculty members are free agents. And we will do our best to convince them that the University of Virginia is the very best place for them to pursue their careers. But if the opportunities get an awful lot better elsewhere, it may be hard for us to continue to do that. So I'm very aware of that issue. And by the way, it's not just the faculty, it's also the staff. We have a very dedicated staff. I was here on several weekends during the winter. It always seemed to snow when I came. And I was very impressed with how hard our staff worked, you know, showing up at 3:30 in the morning to try and make sure that sidewalks and roadways were clear. It's a very dedicated staff, and they also have not had much in the way of additional remuneration over the past 3 years. So those are issues that I think we will have to look at. As all universities do, we face issues of renewal. We have a number of faculty members who are reaching retirement age. We will need to be thinking about how we plan to do that. In terms of my own objectives for the first year, I have really 3 things that I have to turn to immediately. And, you know, one that I'm sure you're aware of because I spoke with the Board of Visitors about it at the retreat in July in Virginia Beach, is that these 2 gentlemen are both leaving their positions at the end of this academic year. Dr. Garson is internationally known for his work in public health, and he has a great idea. And this idea is something he calls Grand AIDS. And he has an opportunity to pursue that idea, and that's his dream, and so he's going to pursue his dream. And if universities are about anything, they're about developing human potential, and so as much as I regret this, I didn't feel I could stand in his way and say, no, forget your dream and stay with me for a few more years. So Tim will be leaving us at the end of the year. Leonard Sandridge is a very capable chief operating officer of the university, has also signaled to me that he would like to retire. And initially, he indicated that he would like to do that in December. I did twist his arm into staying until June. And he has agreed to do that, and he's also graciously agreed to stay on in a part-time capacity as an advisor to me after that. But it does mean I also need to replace the chief operating officer. Now, Mr. Sandridge's portfolio is unusual in its breadth. I don't think there's any other institution of higher education in the U.S. that has a comparable portfolio. And so what I would like to do in the next month or so is to study that portfolio a little bit, because I think it will be hard to find a successor to him who can manage the whole breadth of that portfolio. So I will be studying that. I'm going to be asking the deans to help me study it. We'll be thinking about that so that I can write a good job description. And my intention would be to launch a search in October to seek a successor for Mr. Sandridge. I advisedly use the word successor rather than replacement. I don't think he can be replaced, but I do think we can find someone to succeed him. So I have announced that I will be doing a search. I have invited the university community to self-nominate if they would like to be members of that search committee. It's my understanding that Carol's received a few self-nominations.
Oh, yes. Quite a few.
That there are people interested in serving on that search committee. So that's an important thing I'll need to look at. A second priority for this year is that I want to pay careful attention to the internal budget allocation process. It's really important in planning an academic program to have some predictability about what your funding would look like. And of course, in the volatility that has characterized higher education funding over the last few years, stability has been the one thing missing. And so I'd like to look at our internal budget allocation process to see if we can make it a little more certain for deans and others who have to plan their program to know what their budget will look like. That'll involve a fair amount of work looking both at how costs are allocated and also looking at revenues. And then the third issue on the revenue side is we will be looking at, in general, how the university is financed. This university, as I've said, has done very well, but I'm very concerned about what we foresee as continued loss of state appropriations and what that will mean for us. We've been very fortunate in the extent of which our alumni and other donors have been willing to fund the institution. And I'm really pleased with the progress that the capital campaign's been able to make, especially in the face of a really tough economic climate. But on the other hand, donors are not, by and large, going to give you money for operating expenses. Donors would like to add value with something you could not otherwise do. And it's funding that basic operating budget from year to year that continues to be the challenge for us. But that's not to say that the donors haven't done wonderful things for us. You're going to see some great events on the grounds this fall in terms of dedicating some new buildings and honoring some donors who've made that possible for us. So stay tuned for that. So those are the three things I need to look at right away. It's my senior team, it's our internal budget model, and then it's going to be longer run, the external funding, particularly on the revenue side. I will say that, you know, otherwise in terms of the institution, I think we have an outstanding health system. I've been pleased to have an opportunity to tour the hospital, to talk with a number of physicians, to talk with a number of the nurses, to visit both medical school and the nursing school. I think Charlottesville is very fortunate to have this outstanding facility available to it. And I'm getting to know more about the athletics program. I'll be doing more of that in coming weeks. But I've had several opportunities to meet with the athletic director. I've met with a couple of the coaches. I'll meet with more of the coaches and some of the players later on this month. Because I know, particularly in the fall, that's another important aspect of student life. The entering class will be arriving the weekend of August 20th and 21st. We're looking forward to welcoming them here on grounds. We have a lot of activities planned for them. Today I just signed off on a letter to their parents, telling their parents about the events that will be available to them that weekend. It's the most exciting weekend in advance. So I hope some of you will be able to cover that too, because it's fun. Carol, I think I'm ready to take questions.
All right. We can just, if you want to go around the room, we can start with Brendan and everybody gets a shot, and then we can open it up to everybody. But Brendan, go ahead.
Happy to do that.
Sure. Well, President Sullivan, you mentioned your general concerns for the well-being of the university in a time of decreasing state support. You also stepped into the midst of a $3 billion capital campaign. I'm curious to hear your thoughts as to how to sustain and even augment that campaign.
The capital campaign, of course, our 401ks and the values of our homes, you know, unfortunately, occurred simultaneously with a big loss of wealth, not only in the United States but worldwide. And a lot of people who used to feel rich don't feel rich anymore. And you know, some of us have seen that ourselves as we look at our. So it's not surprising that the capital campaign is, you know, perhaps encountered more difficulty than before. But what I have found, and I've talked to UVA donors now in New York City, in Connecticut, in Florida, is that they are tremendously loyal to this institution. And they haven't backed off of that. You know, they might not be able to make the size of gift right now that they would like to make, but they haven't left us.